What's up, guys? We're back. It's the next day. The epoxy is dried, so I'm going to try and show you, give you a view of that right there. Epoxy's dried. What I just did before they turned on the camera is right here in between that little separation. I sanded it down right there, so that way this thing should sit nice and flush. So I'm going to put a dab of super glue right in between there. Let's see if I can figure this angle out. Right in between there to hold that down, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with some braided line to hold that down. Alright guys, so I'm not using my finger to hold it down. I'm just going to use this little end of the paintbrush, metal paintbrush, so that way my finger doesn't stick to the super glue. And that dab of super glue is just going to hold that metal piece down in place while we so that way we can thread on with the braided line, tie that down real tight, and then we'll epoxy right over it. Alright, that's stuck, so let me show you what that looks like. Now it's stuck down like it's supposed to be. Now we're going to thread right over that, and I'll show you how to do that. Here you'll need just a little bit of a masking tape, some old braided line like I said earlier. Already pre-cut right here. Nice little section here that I can twist up around there. And then what you're also going to need is just a little short section here that you can make a little loop in, just a little bite, a little turn in the thread, and I'll show you how we're going to use that. Take a little piece of masking tape on the end of your thread or braided line. And you want to start towards the tip of the rod. And just tape that down. Now we're just going to start threading it right around that tip. Starting at the back half of the rod, going towards the tip. Let's see if I can do a little closer here. You want to make sure that you're threading those nice and flat, nice and even, so that way they're not overlapping each other. They're just piling right next to each other. If you need to, you can just kind of push them down with your fingertips to get them to lay nice and flat. Okay, we got, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 more loops to go on the end there. So now, I'm going to hold pressure on that, and then I'm going to take my little loop here, this right there, and I'm going to lay it towards the tip, the little bend in the thread there, towards the rod tip, and then I'm going to loop over this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well. Okay, that loop's pointing towards the tip. And I'm just going to lay a couple more loops or wraps around it. Keep laying those down. Okay, I got quite a few there. So now, take your end of your line here, and I'm going to actually cut this a little shorter, or burn it shorter. And I'm going to stick it right through that loop there. So you got the loop up top here, right there. And then I'm going to take the end of the line that I was wrapping and stick it through there. Okay? And now I'm going to pull on the end of that loop, these loops right here, and I'm going to pull tight and pull it back through all those threads that I just did. Just like that. And now, basically created a knot underneath like 5 or 6 wraps that I just did there. Get rid of this tape here so I can show you better. And now you got, see if I can get that to focus a little better. Nice, evenly wrapped line guide. Now we're just going to take some epoxy and go right over that. Clip those ends off here, both your tag ends. I'm going to snug them up a little bit by hand, and then we're going to clip them off and epoxy them. So let me get the epoxy mixed up and I'll get right back with you. Hey guys, I got the epoxy all mixed up. I'm going to take a little bit on my brush here, and I'm just going to paint it right over that tip there. Just right over all that braided line that we put on. And then same thing as last night. Just gonna spin it for a minute. Well, a couple minutes. Spin it for a couple minutes. That way you don't just get a big old drip at the end. And then that's basically it. So I'm gonna spin this for a couple minutes. I'll give you one more shot at it, and that's how you fix it. Now if we were fixing one of the lower guides, a little bit different process. We don't have to actually put the epoxy in the tip. So typically you just start out kind of like I did to secure the little gap there. You just put clean up the excess gunk off there, put a drop of super glue down on the guide, get it lined up with that super glue. That super glue is just going to tack it in place for you. You're going to do that wrapping method that I showed you. Wrap up that line guide pretty close up to the end with that thread, do that loop, pull it back through, tighten it all down, and then you're just going to cover with a little coat of epoxy, and that's it. Pretty easy. Like I said, this isn't the prettiest job, but guess what? It gets you back on the water and saves you from buying a new rod or paying somebody a bunch of money to fix it. So it works. Done it on multiple rods, and I'm still using them today. So all right guys, that's going to do it. That's the final look right there. Like I said, it ain't the prettiest, but it'll get you back on the water fishing. That was a horrible view. There you go. Not the best look, but it works. And that's going to do it for the fixing of the rod. But I've got a ton more footage I need to edit and get out to you guys. I'm horrible at editing, so I just don't have the time with 2 kids. But we'll get to it, and I'll get more content pumped out for you. So I've got probably 250 gigabytes of footage that I need to go through, so hopefully I'll get some more videos out to you quick, and we'll see you back out on the water.